Welcome to the Know. I'm Ashley.
I'm Brian.
Hey, this is a day to celebrate, you guys. Valve's taken a lot of flack over the years for moving away from what made the company famous in the first place, which was developing and publishing really awesome video games.
Yeah, the sad thing is gamers these days probably know Valve more as the company behind Steam rather than, the company that made Half-Life.
I'm sure they've heard of Half-Life.
Yeah.
Some people may have checked it out, but the younger generation of gamers that are coming up through this system,
They don't know.
They just know Steam.
Yeah, and while Valve still supports games like Dota 2 and Counter-Strike Global Offensive, it's definitely been more focused on hardware in recent years. It's been working with HTC on the Vive headset and peripherals. You remember the Steam controller, Steam Lake. That's where they've been really
Steam
focused.
machines, those all went real well.
Yeah.
But maybe that's all about to change because Valve may actually be going back to their roots. It's been almost 5 years since Valve's released a new game, and that was Dota 2 in 2013.
Yeah, and based on some comments made by company boss Gabe Newell, it sounds like Valve's game-making days are back.
Oh yeah! 3 confirmed jokes all around.
Let's do this. He said that the upcoming card game Artifact will be the, quote, first of several games that we can expect from the company.
Several. So apparently all this time, they've also been very jealous of another company that's also famous for its first-party IP, Nintendo.
Wait, Valve wanted to be making Mario games this whole time?
Who knew?
How's that for a plot twist?
Just give Mario a
crowbar,
you're ready to
fucks
go.
it up.
All right, before we get to all that, let's talk about what actually happened. So, this all went down when Gabe was giving a presentation at the Valve offices as part of the rollout for the upcoming Dota 2 card game Artifact.
Yeah, and Artifact, that's the first new game that Valve has put out in a while, and the fact that it turned out to be a card game, little bit of a disappointment to some who were hoping for a more proper game from Valve.
Yes, two guys.
Yeah. Anyway, at the presentation, Gabe talked about how the company's been focusing on Steam and hardware projects like VR in recent years, and that's no surprise to gamers who have not been getting things like games.
But then he dropped a bombshell saying Artifact is the first of several games that are going to be coming from us, so that's sort of good news. Hooray, Valve's going to start shipping games again.
Yes, you heard that right. He said games with an S. Rewind the tape.
Several.
He said S. Yeah, multiple games. So go nuts, Valve fans. Your prayers, they've been answered.
Every single one of them. Judging from the language he used, seems pretty clear Gabe knows that people have been wanting Valve to get back to making games. Trust me, they've heard you. And he surely knows people will be very happy with those comments.
And he's right.
Yeah. I mean, look, we've got hints in the past Valve was starting to shift back to game making. About a year ago in a Reddit AMA, Newell said that Valve was working on at least one fully fledged single player game.
And since Artifact is a card game, it's, according to my math, it's not that.
Not that.
Nope.
The math checks out.
Not that.
You might remember in that AMA, someone also asked him about Half-Life 3, and Newell joked that the number 3 must not be said. Ooh. Yeah, he's heard the jokes. Surprising. But when asked if the company is developing any full-fledged single-player games, he said yes, they are.
And he also responded affirmatively when he was asked in a different thread if Valve would ever consider revisiting the Half-Life and Portal universe in a new game.
Was that before or after Bridge Constructor Portal?
It was before.
Great. Yeah, look, great game on its own.
Yeah.
Not what we had in mind.
No offense. Yeah. So putting that aside for a moment, in interviews with the press in February of 2017, Gabe also said that Valve had multiple games in development, 3 of which were full VR games.
He said at the time, we think we can make 3 big virtual reality games. We think that we know enough now to do that, and we're going to find out if that's the case. We're pretty sure that all the other game developers are going to learn positive or negative lessons from what we do, which is sort of where we have to be right now.
Now, he didn't elaborate on those games, just saying that they're very different from each other, and he said that Valve was working with both the Source 2 and Unity engines.
All right, so now we fast forward to Gabe's recent comments. What games could that possibly be? I mean, just those 3 VR games? Maybe more. He did say several, which is more than 3.
Yep, 2 is a couple, 3 is a few. It takes at least 4, I would say, to warrant something.
Again, math checks out. So we got Half-Life 3, Portal 3, Left 4 Dead 3, Dota 3?
Let's do it. Ship it. Yep.
Unfortunately for us, we can only speculate because in true Gabe fashion, he didn't offer any details. He said, we aren't going to be talking about it today, but sort of the big thing, the new era we have in our quiver really, is our ability to develop hardware and software simultaneously. So that's interesting.
Yeah, he also talked about Valve's various hardware projects over the last 5 years, and it all kind of sounds connected because he said those have been beneficial because they've helped Valve develop their own expertise in hardware design.
Gibbs said 5 years ago we didn't have electrical engineers and people who know how to do robots. Now there's pretty much no project in the hardware space that we wouldn't be comfortable taking on. We can design chips if we need to, we can do industrial design and so on. So that added to that.
Yeah, and now that they've got this new hardware expertise, maybe they'll create unique hardware to support whatever they're working on?
Yeah, I mean, look, they have been doing hardware, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little bit hesitant given that most of the hardware that they've done hasn't been amazing.
Yeah.
Vive is great, but that's also in partnership with HTC.
Right.
I don't know, but them wanting to get into this unique hardware space does potentially remind me of another company.
Yeah, and that is when Gabe specifically shouted out the big N, saying, we've always been a little bit jealous of companies like Nintendo.
Same.
Yeah.
He added, when Shigeru Miyamoto is sitting down and thinking about the next version of Zelda or Mario, he's thinking, what is the controller going to look like? What sort of graphics and other capabilities? He can introduce new capabilities like motion input because he controls both of those things. And he can make the hardware look as good as possible because he's designing the software at the same time. That's really going to take advantage of it. So that is something we've been jealous of, and that's something that you'll see us taking advantage of subsequently.
Yeah, and he's definitely right. Like when you think about Nintendo consoles, their first party games always look a little bit better than everything else.
They do. They always figure out how to get the most out of their system, which is an impressive feat since Nintendo hardware tends to be a little bit underpowered in comparison to the competitors.
Yeah.
But their first party stuff always looks
unbelievable,
amazing.
and apparently Valve was paying attention to that.
Yeah, so needless to say, this is all very, very cool. It could mean a return to form for Valve, but also it's a little bit of an explanation as to what they've been up to these last few years, besides swimming in their money pool.
Right. What comes next? It's anybody's guess, but it's definitely encouraging. Valve definitely has a well-earned reputation for making awesome games, and if this means they're getting back to that, we're all on board, no matter what platform it's on.
Look, maybe one day we'll have Half-Life 3 on VR.
Ooh.
I would buy a headset just to play that.
No
if they
doubt.
decided to put out like Steam Machine the sequel and they released it day one with Half-Life 3, Dota 3, Portal 3, Left 4 Dead 3, that's instant install base.
System seller.
Yeah.
System seller.
Anyway,
Yeah.
what do you guys think of Gabe Newell's comments about Valve making multiple new games? Several, specifically.
Ooh, several.
Let us know in the comments.
With an S. And for all your Valve news, if and when they announce new games, be sure to like this video. If you're new around here, subscribe to the Know.
I just can't get over that clip of the Artifact announcement.
Oh,
Like
I know.
Artifact, and then it was like, woo, a Dota 2 card game. Oh.
I watched it again 5 times just
It's
to
rough.
research the
It's rough.
different thread if Alf
If Alf.
Valve
It turns out Alf
Alf is
going
back.
into game development.
Yeah.